Okay, this is Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. It's the 14th, and I was just talking about, you know, what we can do to clue them in that we're on to them, and that we want them to do nothing more than just do their job. And that is calling their offices or emailing their offices and asking questions. Ask questions like, I've heard what Mark has to say about the way the Department of Ag is treating his family and what they've done to him. But now we want to hear your side. Tell us what the story is. And just gather the information. The point is, at the end of, let's say, a 3-day period, they rack up 50 calls, 50 emails, 500 emails. Then they're saying, they're on to us. We're going to have to change directions here. Sort of like if you have employees that are coming in late, and maybe the boss works at a different location, but word gets back to the job site that, hey, the boss knows we're coming in late. You're going to change. If you want to keep your job, you're going to change what you do. Now, in this case, we have an individual, and this individual might be a good administrator, this Bill Schuette guy. I've never met him. I know when we needed him to do his damn job and just protect our constitutional rights, he went the other way and he piled on. So I have a real spot for him in my heart as far as him not being willing to protect my family, but he's willing to protect his own family, right? When I know families that have sent their young men and their husbands off to protect him and his constitutional rights, in wars and stand vigilantly on guard daily, providing a blanket of freedom that he likes to live under, but doesn't want to do anything here for the homeland. So I have a real hard time with him, but maybe he can come around. If he did, I probably would not be heard of, but right now the guy ain't doing his job. And this guy wants to be your governor. So if he can't do his job as the Attorney General, what makes us think that things would be better with him for us, the citizenry, as the governor? What makes you think he would? Now, he would be much better for some people. A lot of the bureaucracies would be like, yeah, now we can do whatever we want. There's no holding us back now. And that's kind of how it is, because here all this stuff's happened to me. If I didn't have YouTube to go to, which they have squashed, people are paying money to shut this down to make my reach not as good as it could be. But because of you all sharing it, that is a force multiplier. Once you share it, the cat is out of the bag, right? So please do that. And realize, hey, this is a relatively small thing. I built a farm after I got out of the military. I built a butcher shop, and I do a relatively small amount of business, but it supports my family. It feeds my children, and I have that right to do that. And an outfit like MDA, Department of Agriculture, Michigan Department of Agriculture, stepping in and saying, you know what, we don't like this guy because he's got a big mouth, and we want to shut him down. We want to put him out of business, is what they want. And what that forces me to do is go find something else to do. And then I'm off their radar, and that's what they want, because they want to operate unchecked in what they're doing. And basically what they do is they issue you a license, call it a license, and you pay your $150. And if you don't pay your $150, then you can't do business, right? So what's the difference between that and Guido down on the corner that says, if you don't pay your protection money, then we're going to break your knees? What's the difference, really? Because Guido provides you, he says it's protection money, but what do these guys provide me? They provide me with absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. They don't even have the expertise that we have to pull off what we do. So it's a crummy racket, but I'm not disputing that because that's the way it was when I came into it. And I accepted that. And I didn't have to do it, but I accepted it. And I've operated within that guidelines now for a while. And I'm actually getting out. I'm going to do something else. But this started up. And I could have said, well, screw it, doesn't affect me. I'm going to go do something else anyway. But wait a minute, this is my country. This is my country. I lost people during my time in the military fighting for our Constitution, fighting to protect that. And then we have these wieners here that are jumping all over it and just trespassing and not being good servants. We can't do that. We can't allow that. And I think most people understand that concept. You know, they have to be kept in line, and that really is our function. They don't see it that way, and they're extremely threatened by these things because it is kind of their livelihood to climb the corporate ladder within the bureaucracies and, you know, use their influence to pick winners and losers. And that's completely wrong, and we cannot accept that. We don't have to accept that. I know it may seem like a small thing because it's just me, one guy, and I'm not even going to be in it anymore. But it's the greater picture, and I think that once you see that, can you take a moment to share a video? Can you take a moment to make a comment, to do a like, and then can you take a moment to send an email down there and say, please explain this to me? And an email, especially that, it takes them a while to respond to that, and then they have to do some work down there. The Attorney General's office is really where I would focus most of my attention as citizenry. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to straighten this out? Are you going to make this right? Or are you just going to let the guy hang in the breeze again? I'm not holding my breath, but it would send a clear message to the citizenry that as governor, we could expect a governor that would say, I'm your constitutional governor, but he's going to let all the bureaucracies, everybody in his chain of command, do whatever they want. Because as an Attorney General, that is exactly what he has done. The only action he took against me was to put me down when I did not comply with what the Department of Natural Resources wanted, which was to depopulate all my animals. These are my animals, and they're mine. And they said, you have to depopulate them because we say so. And I said, how come? They said because they have a straight tail or a curly tail, they could be feral. And it was absolutely ridiculous. It was so ridiculous that we thought, maybe we don't understand their scientific jargon here. But no, that was it. It was meant to confuse us. It was meant to just to confound the whole system. But at the end of the day, because we just showed up and we persisted, they moved for a dismissal. The Attorney General moved for a dismissal. It shouldn't have happened. It should have gone to court and gone in front of a jury where the jury could decide yes or no. Because remember, we are governed by consent. And what that means is the government works for us. So if we do not consent to their wishes, then it doesn't happen. Now, a law, something that our lawmakers, our legislators, and our House members have processed through into law, you know, two-party system or a three-party system, process it through into law, signed into law by the governor. That is something that we have consented to, you know, and we all agree, you know, this can't happen. And so those are laws, and as citizens and good citizens, we have to abide by our own laws, and generally we do. But something like this that's outside of the Constitution, let's say like a roadblock for no reason, we just want to talk to you. Well, you don't have to consent to that. And if you say, no, I don't consent to this, then wave you through. But if you participate, then you're signaling that you consent and you comply with their extra constitutional actions. If you comply with that, you are consenting to that, and you should not. In this case, we do not consent to this destruction of our business, And that's why I'm making this video. I gotta go, 10 minutes.